Hey, there we go.
There
What's
it
up,
is.
fellas? How's it going?
Good. Good to see you, man.
Yeah, you too. Good to see both you guys, man. How's it going?
Great. Was looking forward to this all day. I've been wanting to have this chat. I know a lot of our listeners, a lot of people in the community have actually been requesting you. So this is
Oh, really? Oh,
lined up at a good time.
I feel honored. Thank you guys so much. It's been a while before since I've done one of these, so cut me a little bit of slack if I stumble through my words a little bit.
No, you're all good. I'm sure it's going to be an epic conversation. And yeah, we really appreciate you making the time for us today. So thank you,
Yeah,
Zach.
yeah, absolutely. Stoked to be here.
Yeah. So real quick,
Yeah,
I just want to get lay the foundation, get the base for people who may be listening to this for a first time video. So your name's Zach, Zach Magnuson. Where are you from? Where are you living right now? And how long you been playing Kendama?
yeah. So my name's Zach Magnuson. I'm a professional Kendama player. I've been playing for going on 11 years now, which is crazy to think. I'm currently living in South Carolina, just doing some different life adventures out here for the time being. But yeah, that's kind of what I'm about.
Mm-hmm. And how old are you?
I'm 25 years old.
25.
What-
25, Kendama USA Pro, South
Yes,
Carolina.
sir. Shout out
Yep.
KUSA.
Yep. KUSA Pro.
Yes,
So,
sir.
Zach, everyone knows that you're the guy for KUSA. Like you're a pro Kendama player. You travel across the world for Kendama. You're extremely skilled behind the lens, having a huge impact in their production of edits, all these videos, social media. But it wasn't always that way for any of these things. And
Yeah,
I just would love to take it back and unravel some of your origins to give more context to the current you, because I feel like a lot of players maybe missing out on that because you have been playing for a decade. So there's a lot to unpack here.
it's still crazy to think I've been playing Kendama that long, dude.
Yeah. Yeah, it's,
Um,
it's insane.
so
So,
yeah, I got put on KUSA in 2018. It was kind of like a spur of the moment thing. I was like low key trying to get on Soul at the time, and KUSA just kind of came in and picked me up. But I'm a firm believer that all things happen for a reason, and I'm in the position I am today. So I'm more than happy that I made that decision back in 2018. At first, I was strictly just a player. I really only picked up a camera so I could film my own edits. And it wasn't really, I want to be a photographer, I want to be a videographer. It just kind of like meshed with what I was doing with Kendama. So being on KUSA, I kind of started filming my own videos and making my own edits, putting a lot of time into that stuff. Like I'm sure you guys know, making edits is very, very time consuming. And there was kind of like, there's been waves of people where I am in KUSA. Like when I got on, Skaggs was kind of in the shoes that I'm in now.
mm,
And he was kind of like my big bro, showed me the ropes, showed me like a lot with editing, social media, was always around when we were traveling. And then KUSA kind of had a big change up. I think it was like 2020
mm,
when everything kind of like hit the fan a little bit with KUSA. COVID obviously kind of impacted all of the companies, I think, in their own ways. We had a lot of trouble with manufacturing, and some of the team at the time just wasn't down to stick around for the long haul of it, and wasn't the patience just wasn't there for some of the players. No disrespect towards anybody, but when I was put on Kendama USA, I was told that it's KUSA for life, and I honestly took that to heart, and I still take that to heart. So I stuck around. I was offered the pro spot back in 2020, I think, like early 2020. So I kind of was going pro when all of my teammates were leaving, and I'm not gonna lie, it was probably one of the saddest times for me in Kendama.
mm.
I was just kind of like, I feel like I just got the ball rolling with KUSA. I was like making relationships with these people, traveling the world with these people, and all of a sudden, I just kind of got like left on the team with a couple people. You know what I'm saying? And it definitely like didn't kill my spirits, but it definitely brought my spirits down a little bit. But it also kind of opened my eyes up to what more I could be doing for KUSA when it came to the team, what I kind of had in my belt for video editing, social media skills. So I just kind of started doing more, and I kind of talked with Jeremy, the owner of KUSA, like, hey man, like what can I do to help? Like how can we get the ball back on track here? I had full intentions on still going pro for the company when it was kind of all over the place. Um, so and honestly, like I'd already kind of had like deep roots with KUSA at that point, being on the team for a couple of years. Like I already like this is where I wanted to be, like regardless of who was sticking around, who wasn't. Like I didn't want
Hmm.
to go anywhere. And then I went pro. I worked on my pro model videos. Those three videos specifically, I believe, kind of showed me what I can do with media and
Hmm.
like videography specifically. And doing those three videos, it was like I had a vision, I had an idea, I got to execute it and publish everything on my own. And I kind of just fell in love with that process of things. And this all kind of ties in with just like my passion for kendama in general. Um, like these kendama projects that I was working on, I just like fell in love with the process of doing that. It was like one of the funnest things for me to do. Like I'm
Yeah.
sure you guys know, like we all love the kendama so much. So it's like the more I could do for kendama, the more I could do for KUSA. I was just kind of like all in with it. I was in school at the time, going to school for photography and videography. Um, and that was kind of the same time that Skaggs had left, so that door kind of opened up for that position on the company. At first, I really didn't think much of it, but the more that I was doing and the more that I was getting involved, I kind of had the opportunity to step into that role with KUSA and kind of take over the media side of things. Um, so I got offered a full-time job. I actually didn't finish school. I ended up dropping out. I do feel like I don't think school is pointless, but I just think for what I was doing, I wasn't getting the right education and learning that I could have been getting for what I'm doing. And I do think that the videography stuff specifically, like it's tough having somebody tell you how to do it when you kind of, I feel like you need to find your own, like, it's kind of like kendama. You find your own style with it, like what works for you, what doesn't work for you.
Hmm.
Um, so I ended up dropping out. I took a full-time job with KUSA. I packed up all my stuff in Michigan and I moved down to Georgia. Um, that was in, I think, 2020, 21,
Hmm.
I believe. And I stayed down there for 2.5 years. And during that time frame, I all of a sudden became like team manager, like team scout, like helping develop product, helping plan trips. Like I kind of like once I got down there, like Jeremy kind of saw how much I just had a genuine passion for this kind of stuff. So he like anything that I wanted to get my hands on, he was super open to like getting me involved and like really appreciated and respected my opinion on things just because I've been around for so long. And I think it was just super genuine the whole process. So I think that's why I was able to get as far along as I did with it, and I'm still doing it. And I do some stuff here and there, like for myself, but like KUSA is still like my main full-time gig for the time being.
Hmm.
Um, so yeah, man, I mean, it really just it went from like player to kind of picking up cameras to like getting a job, and now I'm like kind of Jeremy's right-hand man with most of the KUSA stuff, honestly. So that's just kind of like long story short, kind of how it went. And the things that I've been able to learn since I've taken this job has like been insane. Like I've learned about the business side of things. I've learned about like building a team, like not just videos and photos. Like I've gotten better at all that along the way, but it's like there's so much more that goes into like a kendama company than like just making cool stuff. You know what I mean? Like it's got to be genuine. You got to build a team that is going to stick around, and especially like losing people, like my one of my main goals once I got down there was like we need to rebuild, and I want to build or
Hmm.
help build a team that is going to be here for the long haul. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. Thanks for taking us through that. That was like 4 years.
Yeah,
Yeah.
sorry.
No, no, no. That's good. I want to touch on a lot of things in that, but so you just said that one of your main goals was to rebuild. I'm sure after seeing, you go and pro at the same time as other people leaving that you're like, I do not want that to happen again for anybody. Obviously the ideal is that you get a team member and the relationship is good enough for the whole time, and between the two is companies and then the player, that nobody ever leaves. That's totally the
Right.
ideal.
Yeah.
But for you, when you're coming in pro, people are leaving. The people who are you're friends with on the team. I remember, Skaggs. I mean, I don't remember when Wyatt left exactly, but I know Dwesty left too. So you're
Yep.
obviously friends with these dudes. And what was the whole morale of the team who stayed? Because you said, when I got on the team, it's KUSA for life. And would you say that the team, after these people leaving and after kind of stuff hit the fan, that you guys immediately knew, like, okay, we're in it for the long haul? How was the vibe? How was the morale of the team after everybody left at that point?
Yeah, definitely. Everyone was definitely a little bummed out and just kind of like asking like what is happening, like what is going on type thing. And that's actually when I took it upon myself to like individually reach out to everybody that was still on the team and like
Mm.
let them know like, hey, I just accepted this job. I'm moving down to Georgia. Here's our plan moving forward. Here's my plan moving forward. And kind of like walk them through like we're gonna rebuild, we're gonna get some new shapes, we're gonna rebuild the team, and we kind of like had like a 2 year plan, and I can probably say we executed that pretty well in 2 years, I think. But vibes were definitely low for a little bit, but I think people on the team saw kind of my how genuine I was in with it and how passionate I was about the rebuild process and kind of saying like I'm not going anywhere, like, and I really don't want anybody else to go anywhere. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I can
Yeah.
imagine how huge that was at that point for KUSA. I literally remember I was in the I was at school, I was working out, I check Instagram, I'm like, oh, Brian Scagline literally just left Kendama USA. That's
Yeah.
what is happening. Like Brian,
Yeah.
back then you said he's like the position you're in right now. He's the dude for
Yeah.
KUSA putting everything on, and I was like, okay, something crazy is happening. I remember texting Nick
Yeah.
all this stuff. So I mean, that what a huge thing for you to do, because I mean, if I'm a team member and I'm seeing this happen, I'm hoping that, and I'm like young, maybe I'm young on the team or something, and I don't have much experience, and you've been on the team for a couple of years at this point, you're just turned pro. If I have someone like you reach out to me and for reassurance to actually get a really true gauge of like how I'm doing and actually communicating to me the situation and how we're going to go towards a goal. Talk
Yeah.
about reassuring, talk about
Yeah.
actually instilling confidence that a solution can be brought out of this and some positivity can be brought out of this. Because of course it can. But of
Yeah.
course, in those situations when you're in the moment, it's sometimes it's very difficult to have that perspective.
Tough. It's tough.
So, I mean, that is so cool that you did that. And I never knew that. So
Yeah.
I mean,
Communication is huge, man. And like
mhm.
again, like I don't want to dog at anybody, but like communication hasn't always been the best since I've been around. So that was just like I knew if everyone communicated and everybody was on the same page, like we can make stuff happen. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no doubt. No doubt.
100%.
And yeah, go ahead, Nick.
No, yeah, I was just gonna say that obviously Zach and I, the more we pursue what we're doing right now in Canal, we realize more and more that communication is a huge deal. We've learned a lot
Huge.
along the way, and we've had experiences too in the past where communication hasn't been as strong, and it's just, if it's not there, then the problem is just either going to get ignored or just get bigger over time. They usually, coincide with each other. So to not only communicate, but also follow through with action, right? I mean, you said you
Yeah.
set out a 2 year plan. Obviously, you guys are still growing right now. You guys have definitely rebuilt and established a new presence in the Kendama scene that is, I think, in my opinion, definitely more respected than most years in Kendama for sure. I think you guys are on a high right now, and it's really great to see. But is that, would you say a special trait of yours is taking action? I mean, to say you have this to instill confidence in others, take this 2 year plan, get it going, that's one thing, but to actually follow through, I generally feel like that's a rare trait for people. So how was it through that experience just getting not only yourself to commit, but also others along with you? Because it's one thing to do it by yourself, but in order to go far, you have to go together.
Yeah, absolutely. Um, the main I feel like the main reason that I like just set all these goals and wanted to do them so bad was because I had the opportunity to make a career and build something with the two things I love the most, which is literally kendama and cameras. So once I got given an opportunity, and I mean, I packed up all my bags in Michigan and went down to Georgia, and I was telling like the team and new players this. I was like, I'm all in with this. Like, all my marbles are in this basket for the time being.
Hmm.
And I like, I'm definitely one, like, if I say I'm going to do something, like, I try my best to do it. Like, I don't want to, one, I hate letting people down and I hate not following through on stuff that I say I want to do.
Yeah.
And I think like the team we had and the team we have now, like they all kind of saw that in me moving forward. And I think it's that specifically is just helped build everything and giving a lot of people on the team that same kind of like trait. Like if we're gonna say it, we're gonna do it. We're gonna do it the best we can. And I do think that's part of the reason why we've been able to rebuild, not just rebuild, but rebuild something like what we have right now is really special, man. Like I
Yeah.
think like we're like a big family and it feels great, honestly. Like we go on all these crazy trips and like have so much fun like outside of Kendama and I'm calling the team like every other day of the week, like one-on-one calls all the time. Like it's
That's
it's
epic.
it's special, man, for real.
Yeah. Yeah. And then so it's probably especially special to you more than most people on the team because I mean you've been on Konami USA for longer than the majority of the
Yeah.
team by now. And like you said, you had mentors yourself and Brian and Jeremy, and I'm sure a couple others along the way. But now you're on the other side of that
Yeah.
where you've brought in upon the rebuild, upon the future for this team, you brought in, and I'm just gonna say one name right now. There's many, but I mean Benny Boy. I mean, you guys. I mean, you literally have. It sounds like you've almost raised him in some way, shape, or
Yeah.
form. He talks so highly of you, and I think your guys' relationship is so close. So, I mean, I'm sure you remember the day you stumbled upon this gem of a player and the
Oh
fact
yeah.
to like get so close with him and take him for the future of Konami Say. Tell us a little more about that in that relationship.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, Ben's my little brother, man. Like seriously, like I love that kid so much. But yeah, I found him on Instagram and he was like the only kid playing KUSA stuff when we went through that like dry spurt. Like he was
Mhm.
ripping old Tosta mods and like shift shape stuff and like all the newer shapes that come out and he's just landing these crazy tricks. And I think that's like since I've been playing for so long and like the competition side and like filming side of stuff, I feel like I can really notice when players put a lot of time into it to get better. So I noticed that with him like off the rip. And he literally had like I think 200 followers on Instagram, something like
Wow.
that, like close to none. And yeah, I just like I remember I texted Jeremy and I was like, "Hey, there's this kid and he's definitely like the next it guy for sure." And Jeremy just kind of said, "Let's do what we got to do to pick him up." And I also knew like I know Crom was sending him some stuff and like
Mm.
I had a feeling that other companies were going to notice this kid. And I was like, "We're gonna do it. We got to do it now." So yeah, I remember I reached out on Instagram in the DMs, and before I offer him the spot, I just like let him know I'm like, dude, like you're super talented at Kendama for only I think he was only playing for like roughly 2 years at the time,
Yeah,
like
wow.
better than I already was at playing for X amount of years. So like it was kind of a no-brainer with him, and then the longer like I actually got to know him, just kind of saw like how genuine of a kid he was, and like that's the perfect person that I would like was looking for to get on Konami USA. And then he got on, and I mean, it's just kind of like it's the perfect story, man. It's like he gets on, he comes down to Georgia for a couple of times. Like I meet his family, like mom trusts
Wow.
me with him, so like wherever I was going, she was cool with him coming with me. Um, Basically told him I was like, listen, man, if you grind for the next year the way you're grinding right now, you're going to go pro for us, like without a question. And he did exactly that. He got triple the times better he was when I first saw him. He went up like another thousand some followers on Instagram. Like everybody was talking about this Benny kid. Like, I mean, you guys know he's crazy. He's crazy at Kendama. Um, and then a few team trips, like just filming some videos, like ATL vibes, stuff like that, craft
Mm.
shop visits, the jet shape. one was a big trip for me and him. We got to actually like go into craft, and like Watts was there too. Shout out Watts, but like really like just sit there and talk about specifically kendama, and just seeing how passionate this kid was about it. I was like, this kid's got to go pro for us. And I was just sitting there kind of telling Jeremy, like, just let me know when we could do it. Let me know when we could do it. And then we made him pro. Um, we talked for probably 2 months on what he wanted to do for the video and just like planning everything out. We traveled to, I drove to Kentucky to film him at his school and slept on the dorm room floor for 2 nights to be
Oh.
out there to film. Yeah, whew, those college dorms, man, you guys rough. But yeah, filmed out there. Then we ended up going out to Vegas together to film. We went down to Atlanta to film, snuck into that Stranger Things location. So we just slowly built this relationship up over the past couple, 2-ish years, I think it's been since it's kind of been on. And yeah, he's my little bro, man. Like I love that kid for real.
Yeah, I can tell. That's amazing to hear about that, the development of that relationship. And yeah, I don't know if you know, but we just had Ben on a couple weeks
Yeah.
ago.
Yep.
And I mean, yeah, he just did echo what you said. Absolute gem of a kid, super genuine, really positive attitude. And he was dropping gems of knowledge that any type about kendama that any
Yeah.
player could pick up straight up. Like
Yeah.
no matter if 1 year in or 10 years in, he was dropping knowledge bombs actually when we had him on. So really, really self-aware and insightful for his play and knows what goes into his play. And awesome, awesome dude. I could tell that you guys had really thought out that edit. You brought up his pro, and just to hear you talk a little bit about what went into that, all the planning, talking for 2 months, traveling for this film, that gets me
Yeah.
stoked because I mean that shows that's how hard you guys worked. And I mean he
Oh
was
yeah.
talking about yeah, right down to the last detail. Like he's wearing the Marty McFly like denim jacket or yeah, I think that's what it's
Yeah.
called. Like, this it's a vibe, the vibes of the edit are too carefully planned out. You guys snuck into that location.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's so amazing. And that kind of just makes me that makes me curious about what, you're helping him, of course, you're filming the edit. I'm sure you're having just as much a part of him into this creation of this edit than as he is.
Mhm.
What was your first edit that you really felt like, wow, I really brought my all to this, cinematically. I mean, everybody knows you now as like, yeah, Mags is a total like filmer, of course, he's super good. But
Yeah.
what was really the first edit you made? Because I remember back in the day, I mean, you were getting your edits made for you. Like you had your friend Adi,
Yep.
filming for you.
Yeah.
But what was
Shout
the
out
first
Adi.
one that you made that you were like, this is mine. I'm super proud of this one. Let's go.
Yeah. I don't know. It's tough. I feel like they've gotten better and better, like each one that I do. I the probably the first one that I actually like watched through and through and was like, okay, like we're doing something cool here was probably Yada's pro video.
Mm,
I don't know if you guys, I'm sure you guys saw that one, but like
Yeah.
he didn't really have any idea what to do for that video. So I kind of like curated the bringing the blading and the family into it and like getting the old blading archive footage and going to these skate parks and filming all the blading stuff and then kind of putting it all together into this like storytelling piece. I definitely have liked like my pro videos, but they haven't really, it's been just kind of like epic looking stuff with Kendama. It wasn't like a through and through like story, you know what I mean? So I feel like Yada's video was the first one that I was able to really execute like a storyline with the player, with like this is him with his mod, this is why his mod's his mod.
mhm.
So I'd probably say Yada's was the first one that I was like super pumped on and like I'm getting better at this and I'm proud of what I'm doing right now. You know what I mean? The pro videos in general, just the ones that I do for people, they're my favorite to do because you get to kind of tell that story of them like with their mod. Like I usually fly to their hometowns for it to film all that kind of stuff. So yeah, that probably Yada's though was the first one that I was like, okay, we're doing cool stuff here, you know.
Yeah. And that was back in, let's look up, yeah, June 2022.
Yeah, I think that
So
was actually the first one that was the first big one that I had flown out to from Georgia to execute, and it felt good. Like because obviously like Kendama USA has put a lot of money in that and a lot of faith in me to go out there and get the job done. So was definitely pumped on that one.
Yeah. No, I mean that's amazing, and I've seen that video, and it's incredible. And to hear and to know that the date is June 7th, 2022, and you moved out to Georgia. It sounds like in what was that, early 2021, somewhere in 2021, right?
Yeah, early 2021. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and you were already doing video stuff before that because I know you studied it. You said you studied in college and then you dropped out and then you moved.
Yeah.
So I just want to highlight that like a couple years of work went into like for him to say for Zach to say that the first video he was like, all right, like we're doing something good here. 2022, he's put a couple years in. It didn't happen overnight. It takes time.
Oh yeah, yeah.
It takes a lot of time, and I just actually now that I did mention Adi earlier, I kind of want to take it back real quick because
Yeah, yeah, no, please do. Please
yeah,
do.
I do want to take it back, and I I'll just take it back all the way. Actually, we'll touch on that in a sec. But you know, going back all the way to your origin, you said you're playing for 10 years from Michigan, 25, but at the very start, your guy from Michigan, kid from Michigan, and you're 15 when you started playing. So you're from St. Clair,
Yep.
Michigan, right?
Yeah, Seiko Shores.
And in your 10-year video, you have a segment when you are playing in front of a toy shop in Michigan called Glowfish Studios.
Yep.
And actually the segment, Bruce Morris, the owner, is in that. And
Yep.
he said that, they started doing kendama nights for everyone in, I don't know how to say this,
Wyandotte.
Wyandotte,
Yeah,
Michigan.
yeah.
And they said that, oh yeah, we have these guys come in, and there was this one kid who drove from St. Clair, which I looked up. That's an hour and a half away. That's
Yes.
65 miles away. And you said you would come to make it to these weekly kendama nights. So, can you describe the impact that these sessions had on you as a player, like a young kid at the time? Like, what was your like asking your parents, "Can I go 1.5 hours away every week to do kendama?"
Yeah, shout out my mom for always taking me to those, dude. My mom had my back when it came. She still does with the kendama stuff, man. But yeah, so I mean, I'm sure you guys can relate to this. There's like a big difference between like playing by yourself and maybe one or two other homies. You're like trying to get into it or get them better. But
Yeah.
Glowfish was like my first introduction to a giant group of people playing kendama, not necessarily at the same skill level, but already in it, like trying to get better. Like they were selling kendamas there. I remember I saved up for like 3 weeks before I went down there for the first time, just so I could buy a bunch of kendamas when I went in there. I remember picked up some Ozoras, like those old sweets painted ATAC cans, like
Wow.
scooped some stuff down there. And I remember just like leaving there after playing with all these kids and meeting Cam for the first time. And like he was the Instagram legend back then for like
Absolutely.
us younger people like on the come up. Um, I don't know. It's like it's one of those things that you experience it and then you're just hooked. Like I need more of this. I want to like make an effort to make it down to these as much as I possibly can. Um, but yeah, I just got hooked. That's probably the best way to put it.
Yeah. How long were you going to those sessions? Like how before you stopped going to them consistently?
Um, the first probably a few months I was down there every other week, if not every week. And then that scene specifically just kind of started fizzling out a little bit.
Hmm.
And then I kind of got into deeper school stuff and everything. So I wasn't going down there as much. But still, whenever I had the opportunity to like get a car full of some of my homies to go down there and film or do whatever, it definitely was still a top thing on my list. Um, but yeah, it's so over time slowly kind of slowed down, but the scene down there kind of slowed down a little bit too. It wasn't always like that first Kendama I went to, there had to be 100 people at Glowfish. Like
Wow.
it was crazy. Like maybe not 100, that might be a little excessive, but a good like 40, 50 kids were there. You know what I mean?
Cuts
That's
it down by
crazy.
half.
That's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, it was crazy though. And but yeah, Adi was always going down there with me, and I had a couple other friends at the time, homie Colin, my homie Noah, who I was kind of like getting into kendama at the time. But Adi is actually the only reason I bought my first camera from him, and it was because
Oh,
he didn't want to film Kendama anymore, but he was like, "Here, I'll sell you my camera so you can get started." So shout out him because if it wasn't for him, I probably would have never even picked up a camera in the first place.
I was gonna ask about that. I was gonna ask, did he get you into
Yeah,
shooting? And
yeah,
it sounds like he did. Yeah, that's incredible. And I watched a couple of your, one of your some of your first videos that I watched were, this is really iconic for me. And actually, Zach, when I was preparing for this conversation, I was looking at really old videos I haven't seen in years, and it really just brought context. I was like, wow. 'Cause I almost forget. I mean, as I said, you used to have such a big role in KUSA now, and such a big impact on the company and in the scene that I I actually like for legit forgot your roots. And even though I was playing at the same time as you, I remember seeing all these videos when they first came out when you were just 15
yeah,
years old as well. And I was like, wow, Zach has done so, like, he's been everywhere. He's done so much. So it was a joy for me to go back. And I did watch the Soul Show Your Flow video, round one,
yeah,
again. And I remember watching that for the first time, 2015. And if you guys don't know what we're talking about, Soul Kendamas had their first sponsorship contest and to sponsor their first big group of players in 2015. And it was like a 2-minute video. You shoot it, you for round one, and if you get, if they choose you for round two, you move on to round two. And Zach entered, and that was one of the I remember that specifically being one of the, like, wow, this is a very high quality edit.
yeah. Adi
Like
crushed
this is
those.
yeah, like
Adi
this
crushed
is
those.
hmm this is super high quality. You're, licensing super hard tricks, which by the way, you're only like a year in at that point, which
Yeah,
I just put two and two
So
together
insane.
today. Dude, you were insane. For like you were actually nuts for a year. Because back then I was
appreciate
like,
you.
dude, I gotta grind I was like, wow, I gotta get like good. There's another kid who I'm just knowing about who's like my age and he's basically as good as definitely better than me. And I was like, where did this guy come from? And I'd already been playing for
Yeah,
3 years at that point.
yeah.
So, so that was
Appreciate you.
insane. Dude, yeah. And so, you're making edits with Adi and he sells you the camera. Was that happened before college or was that in college or
That was high school actually. I got my
okay.
first camera when I was in high school. That freshman year going into junior or freshman year going into sophomore year was when he kind of stepped away from the kendama stuff.
Hmm.
And that's when I bought my camera off him and kind of started doing the filming editing thing on my own. Um, but yeah, so like freshman going into sophomore year.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. That gives me a lot of context because I was trying to figure out when you started, because obviously you're probably not going to post about, yeah, your first camera, first day, like, hey, I'm just trying to start working on this. Like,
Right,
this is
right.
probably not going to happen with almost anything,
Yeah.
being super intentional and having a feeling about it. So yeah, it goes back to what we were talking about, like just put it in the years. There's been a competition in Michigan for many years recurring, Dom in the D, and going into competing here,
Yeah.
you know, I don't know if people know, but ever since you joined Tribe, like you joined Tribe in 2018, you joined KUSA 2018, and going into that 2019 year, I mean, I remember you really started to find yourself as a competitor.
Yeah.
And since 2019, this is all according to Ken Docs, you've racked up actually 12 podium finishes since 2019 only. So, and 7 of those are first place actually.
Hey, I didn't even know
So
that.
yeah, so that's
Uh,
that's huge. And you actually won Dom in the D 4 times.
Yeah.
wow.
Yeah.
One
One
time pulling
year,
the 2 dubs in the
I'm
same
about to
event.
say, yeah, that one year was dub po. That shit was crazy. That was crazy. Sorry,
No, you're good.
but
Yeah,
yeah, that I was like actually tripping out when that happened. I they say, well, I say there's like you find a zone up there. Like once you get like you get so locked in, like it just happens. It's hard to explain how it happens, but you find like nothing else is there. It's literally just you on stage playing kendama, and you're like so honed at everything going on. And it all just kind of that was the first time I experienced it was that double podium year. And I think that was actually like my first big win was that. And I just kind of remember like how I thought that kind of happened in my head, like how I got myself ready and like got focused and all this, and just kind of slowly kept trying to repeat that same process that I went through. And it all just kind of comes down to breathing. If I'm being honest with you,
Mm,
like like breathing and like taking your time is really about it. You know what I mean? And then it just that itself calms you down. Um, and I do wear for open, I haven't the last couple times, but I always wear headphones. I put AirPods in, and fun
Mm.
fact, I listen to the same song on repeat every time I do open with the headphones in. It's the same song. I've never switched it. So it's like my zen. It gets me like in the zen zone. You know what I mean?
Wait, what? Wait, hold on. What is that? Are you willing to like tell us the song, or is that just kind of like a secret competitive edge?
I'll probably keep that one to myself.
All right, all right.
But yeah, it's been the same one since I think that double podium year was the first time that I did it, and then I just haven't stopped doing it since.
It
Yeah.
tends to be how it goes. I mean, Zach and I have done the same thing for pre-comp rituals as well. Find something that works one time, you're like, cool, never
Yep.
not doing that again.
Yep.
So yeah, definitely something that sticks. I actually want to just touch on real quick. This is a little bit in just the conversation we had earlier, but I just want to say that Zach was touching on, how your show your flow video. I think you've actually had some of the most iconic edits like of all time. That's one of them for
Thank you,
sure, at
bro.
least for our generation. And
Yeah.
and honestly, I think at that time Zach was saying, "Oh wow, this kid's like super good for 1 year. Like you guys have the same name."
Yeah.
Also, I remember you for a fact you were in high school when you were doing all this because you were also playing soccer.
Yep.
Yep.
You were
Yep.
always also seeing your soccer pictures on your Instagram. I was like, yo, this guy's just like us. Like
Yeah.
he's just
Yeah. Yeah.
it almost was just like, dang, guy makes good videos, good Kendama, probably you're good at soccer. I was just thinking, all right, it's kind of like a rival type of thing here. Like, I
Yeah.
didn't even know you, but I just thought,
Yeah.
all right, like, yeah.
Like we got beef. We got beef.
To some extent, for sure, I definitely thought
Yeah.
so. Like made it up, but
Right, right, right. No,
yeah, yeah.
I'm not gonna. I'd be lying if I didn't say I thought a little bit of the same thing back then. If I'm being honest with you, especially with Zach, because yeah, y'all were playing soccer and stuff. I'm like, it's like my doppelganger somewhere else, man. Like I got beef with this kid.
Yeah,
Yeah,
dude. Yeah, it's cool that we can go back to these things and just like Zach said, you've become such a big part of Konami USA and the Konami scene now, not only just as a player, but raising the next generation of players on your team and around your area. It's like I almost forgot like that you've been around just as long as we have. So it's cool to come down back here and explore
back
this old stuff.
back to the
But
roots a little bit.
yeah, 100%. And then going from Seoul, so that was the first round actually of that competition. And, it was, I think, to a lot of people's surprises. I mean, you didn't make it to the second round.
I
You were not,
did.
No, he did. He did.
or my bad, my
Yeah.
bad. You made it to the second. That's right. That's right. You made it to the second round, but not, it ended up not going through.
No,
Uh,
I'll never forget that day.
yeah.
They like I remember they put the it was like an announcement video on YouTube and they took like I think it was just clips from the people's videos that
Yeah.
had made it. And I remember just like sitting there and watching and watching and watching and it was over and I was like, "Oh, I didn't make it." But that lit a fire under my ass to get even better. So I'm not upset that that fell through at by any means. It just wasn't the right thing for me at the right time, you know. And if I took that back then, I would not be on KUSA now because I'm a very loyal person. So I know for a fact I would still be on Soul Kanamas if I got on back then.
Yeah. Yeah. And after you did say that in your My Story video on Adi's channel. I remember I
Oh
watched that
yeah.
video today. Yep.
Oh yeah.
And you said, yeah, I mean,
Little
I
Grom
entered
Max.
I entered Soul, Show Your Flow. I made it to round two, then I get picked, but that just motivated me to go even harder. And I wanted to touch on that. I mean, for people listening, like this isn't that common anymore to do sponsorship videos, but back then it was really like kind of stressful because you make a full video, like you make a full video for this purpose of, all right, I want to show my stuff, want to go for the goal being sponsored. You enter round one. I mean, Zach makes a killer round one, goes for round two, has even better tricks as round two, and then the announcement date is finally there. It usually takes like a month for
Oh
like
yeah.
month for round one, month for round two, and then you're like finally, and then the judging takes a couple weeks, and then you're like finally, let's go, and then so yeah, you didn't make it, but what was that? I mean, you already said it lit a fire in your ass, but can you elaborate on that more? Like what was going through your head at that point?
Yeah, for sure. I was frustrated because I knew I knew I was good. I felt like I was good enough to get a spot, but I didn't get the spot. So at the same time, I was like, oh, maybe I'm not good enough yet. So I already kind of had a mad love for kendama. Like it grew on me very, very quickly. So like not getting on Soul, I knew I'd be able to get on somewhere if I kept putting time in, and
Mhm.
I just kept grinding and grinding, and I knew I was like, just keep filming, keep making your videos, like keep pushing yourself to get better tricks, video wise, whatever you need to do, and like something will end up working out. And I honestly at the time I thought that maybe in another year Chad might come back and be like, hey man, sorry about that. But no, it was I liked Kendama way too much for that to like just end my career. You know what I mean? And at the end
Right.
of the day, there's so many companies that you could get sponsored by. I knew something else would work out eventually, you know?
Yeah. And it did. And it
Yeah.
totally did. It
Yeah.
was a couple months, or I don't know if it was a couple months later, but I think it was a couple months later. You joined Atlantic Kendamas.
Yeah, Atlantic, shout out Ryan. They're not around anymore, but he was definitely a good like segment in my career to kind of get me to where I am today. Um, but yeah, Atlantic and Don was a long time ago. Holy crap. Um, yeah, I ended up getting on there. Ryan treated me like the golden boy from like day one, and it was super like refreshing and nice, especially after not getting on Soul. And he's like that company is the main reason I even started going to MKOs. Like 2016 was my first one that I went to,
Yep.
and they paid for my flight, hotel room, like everything. And that was kind of like, dang, like okay, like we're really in this now. You know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely. And I was gonna ask you, any highlight moments with Atlantic, but so you just mentioned MKO 2016, so I'm just gonna segue. I think you know what I'm gonna talk
Yeah,
about.
I know where we're going here.
The Golden Yank contest.
Oh yeah.
People are even recently, people were just in the past couple days, people were arguing about short string Yanks, long string Yanks. People are really good at Yanks now. People in the walk team are insane at Yanks.
Yeah.
I don't know if people know the OG Yank
Yes,
champion,
sir.
and we're talking
Yes,
to him
sir.
right now.
Yes, sir.
Can you take us through the Golden Yank moment for people who might not know what that is?
Oh, dude, that was so that was like I think everyone has like a breakout moment in Kendama, and you never know when it's gonna be, but it just happens when it happens. And for some reason, it was a yank spike thing for me. Um, but yeah, I remember it was the first year I went to MKO. The yank spike thing just started like occurring in the scene. Fun fact, I had never done a yank spike before that trip to MKO. Like I learned how to do
No,
it
no
that
way.
I swear to God, learned how to do it that trip. Just found a kendama that was really, really good for it. And the string, they were like 8 finger strings, 7, 8 finger strings, something like that. Um, and yeah, I remember I almost missed it. It was in the mall, and we were out running around getting some food with people. And I remember like sprinting to the where everything was going on, and they were like, "All right, find a partner. You're gonna go." And then I just like I kept winning and winning and winning, and then I was only hitting like I feel like 4 to 5 around though. Like not I think I hit 12 or 13 in my the last one, but it just kept moving forward. Ended up getting on stage. I remember like the second I got on the stage, I was like, "What? Like, this is crazy! Like, what's actually going on?" Adi was actually there, like filming me the entire time, and he was also like, "Dude, like you could win this thing. You could win this thing." So ended up like winning the Yanks blank comp. I think I got like 11 or 12 in the finals, which is like it's funny because now kids are getting like 30 in a minute. Like so
Yeah.
times have definitely changed with the Yanks spikes, but so I like won, and then I think Weens walks over with that like golden trophy thing, and he's like Sweets is on the mic or Norks was on the mic, and he was like, "Yo, like the top thing is top kendama, you can actually yank spike it." So I like pulled it off, and he was like, "Let's see you yank it first try." And I remember I just looked down at it and I just sent it, and the thing just smacked, and there's a video. I'm sure you've seen the video. I was in
Yeah.
shock. Like the second I hit that yank spike, like the stage was shaking. That's how loud like the ball got. And then I looked out. Everybody in the front like area was like going crazy. But then
Yeah.
I look up and like that section of the mall, there's like those circle rings, like three or
Yeah.
four levels. There's people like running to the edge of the thing, like looking over the balcony to like see what's going on. And I was just like, I was trying to like take it all in, but be hyped like at the same time type thing. But it was like one of those I'm in shock, like I don't know what just happened type ordeals. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like being late to the comp, just kind of learning how to do a yank spike. Like I probably played like 15 matches before that finals match. Um, but again, like all the stars aligned, like I wasn't super known yet. And that was my random breakout moment, dude.
Yeah. That I'll tell you right now, I remember where I was when that happened. Because I actually wasn't in the rotunda,
Yeah.
but that was literally, I think Nick and I were together. That was literally the largest cheer of the entire day. Like legit, Pro Open had less cheer than that. Like
Yeah.
Pro Open, like I don't know who won. Oh, it was literally Nick. Yeah. It was literally Nick. And 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 that definitely, without a question, the Golden Yank was the hypest moment of the entire day. Because I remember I was by like the roller coasters and I just hear like this massive cheer. And I was like, what? I was so curious, like, what just happened over there? And it's cool that you said, like, you looked up, you saw people rush into the rims of the balcony of the Baltimore
Yeah.
and look down. Because I
Yeah.
mean, yeah, who wouldn't do that? The cheer was insane.
Yeah.
So that's
The
cool. Yeah.
stage, I literally remember the stage shaking. Like the stage was shaking because how loud people were like screaming and jumping around. Like it was my first big event. I was just in shock. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It has 100,000 views on YouTube.
Yeah. Yeah.
101K. And
Yeah.
look, thumbnail's hilarious. I remember this so vividly because I honestly watched this the other day, like probably last week.
Yeah.
And you were like, yeah, it's my big breakout moment. This is just you can literally see it in the video. Luke Ford comes up to you, like shakes your hand, like gives you like, "Hey, like I'm Luke. And you probably say like, oh, I'm Zach. And he's like,
I
I know.
know. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
just so hilarious. It's so good. It's so good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll never forget that video. We're talking about it now. I mean, isn't that a most legendary? I think you got back into the conversation for Konami World, like with the Burleys coming up. It might be just like I know it's kind of like off topic, but
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
swear it started getting talked about more recently. So I'm glad
Yeah, I
people.
did. I saw a couple accounts repost it and stuff, and I was like, dang, people are still watching that thing. I'm
Yeah,
really like I'm like 16. Like it's so long ago. It's cool though that it's still hype. Still got that hype to it.
yeah.
Um, but yeah, but a lot of people tell me that's like one of the like not maybe not like the hypest moment ever at a Kendama event, but like
Mhm.
one of the loudest cheering moments
Oh
like
yeah,
that has happened in the past 10-ish years.
in all of history of Konami, the competitions
Yeah.
for
I
sure.
think that literally goes down as one of the most legendary moments in Kendama, period. Like, actually. So,
Thank you.
yeah, we were talking about it with the Lotus squad the other day, and yeah, we were definitely like, yeah, that's definitely up there. So, um,
It was
but
crazy.
yeah, it was incredible. It was definitely the hypest moment of that entire competition. So, but okay, so so you went Seoul, didn't get on. Atlantic Kendama's good 2 year stint there. You're on from October 2015 to you're on December 2015 to October 2017, which I also looked at the channel and you had 3 edits up on Atlantic before your official announcement edit. I thought that was pretty funny. Like, I
Yeah,
was kind of looking for it.
I couldn't stop making edits, man. I don't know what was into me. I just couldn't stop filming.
Yeah, you literally had 12 edits for Atlantic Kendama's in 2 years. Under that.
Yeah.
Like you had
Yeah.
12. Yeah, I counted, I was like, wow, this is incredible. But
We're
you
going
know, you
crazy.
you left Atlantic out in October 30th, 2017. And then you immediately started repping Soul again. So
Yeah.
you went hard on Soul for like
Soul
seven
Shape,
for 7 months.
Soul Shape came out and I was like in love with it. So I
Yeah.
was like, we'll give this another shot.
Yeah. Yeah, and I remember that you made the Soul edit with Alex Mitchell back then, one of Soul's first guys, and around that time period when they brought in new people. And yeah, for 7 months, I was like, wow, Zach's definitely. I remember thinking back then, like, wow, Zach's really pushing hard for Soul. He's probably gonna get on. It's Soul after Soul after Soul clip, only Soul for 7 months straight, and then May 29, 2018, you dropped your first clip with a Kaizen, your
Yeah.
first KUSA clip, and ever
Yeah.
since then, it was just KUSA, and then what do you know? You got August 4th rolls around. You're on KUSA Tribe. So
Yeah.
I'm just very curious. I'm just very curious about how that whole situation transpired? Like, what pulled you to KUSA first? What transpired from you to be like, all right, I'm repping Seoul to, all right, I'm posting this KUSA clip and I'm not going back. And then you got sponsored a couple months later.
Yeah. I'm not gonna lie, a lot of it had to do with the shapes at the time.
Hmm.
Because I was playing on Atlantic, it was like I know you guys remember that very standard shape that like
Right.
basically everybody had.
Yeah.
So the soul shape was really the first one that I played that was not like that, a little bit bigger. Um, like the cups were bigger, the like thicker in your hands. So I got like really hooked on that. And then it was Dom the I don't remember what year it was, whatever year that previously that I got announced on Tribe. Um, was repping Soul at the event. Um, Wyatt Wyatt and Dylan actually came up to me at the event and were like hyping me up and saying that they think that I'd be a really good fit for Kendama USA and this and that. And I remember I told them straight off, I was like, I'm not really a fan of the 2.0. Like, I am really big on like shapes right now. Like, I'm trying to like get on a team where I really enjoy the shape. And they pulled the shift shape out of their back pocket and were like, check this out. And this was before like only the team had the shape. It was like one of those like we're gonna compete with it, but not let anybody like play with it or look at it type thing.
Yeah.
And I remember just like casually playing the shift, and I was immediately hooked on it. I liked it better than Soul Shape. It was a little bit more like less rounded. Soul Shape was very rounded off. I don't know if you guys remember. Shift Shape was there. It was a craft Ken. Like craft Kens are arguably the best Kens that you can get. Like nice smooth edges, a little bit chunkier than the 2.0. Like for flipping and taps and stuff like that, it fit my play style a lot better than the Soul Shape did at the time. Um, so I remember they let me kind of mess with that for the day. Wyatt was like kind of chit chatting with me. He's like, I really want to get you on. Like me and Dylan are really stoked on you. Would love to like continue this conversation moving forward. And literally that same event, Chad came up to me after the event was over and was just like, "Yo, Mags, like you're getting a lot better. Like I see you out here. Like we definitely got to have some conversations," type thing. So I had like Chad talking to me at that event, and I had Wyatt and Dylan talking to me at that event. And I'm was still pretty loyal with Soul, if I'm being honest with you, just because I was trying to get on their team for so long.
Yeah.
And this is Chad's one of my really like best friends. Like I love Chad, especially for this, what I'm about to say. I actually made a phone call to Chad before I accepted the KUSA spot or Soul spot, and I genuinely asked him like what he thinks that I should do. And he told me straight up. He said I would take the KUSA route because they can do stuff for you that I can't, and I think you have a lot better of an opportunity to excel with them than where we are at right now. And that's literally, I was like, okay, I respected Chad's opinion a lot. I still do. So I kind of, after that conversation, hit Wyatt up and was like, hey, I'd like to take you up on the opportunity for KUSA.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. And then that happened before you, so that happened before you post your first clip with the Kaizen, right? Like you, or no?
I think I started posting. They gave me some stuff at the event. I think I started posting with 2.0s a couple weeks after. But yeah, that phone call with Chad was made like 2, 3 days after
Yeah.
Dominic, like not long at all.
Yeah. Massive respect to Chad for
Oh
that.
yeah, dude. Yeah,
Massive respect.
he's taught me a lot in kendama too. He's big bro vibes for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, I love Chad. We had a great conversation with him on here and he's been in the game for longer than all of us. So
Yeah.
massive respect to him. Shout out Chad and Soul. You did touch on, you're at Dom the D. We did say you won it 4 times, and you actually brought up that you said, yeah, it's all breathing. It's all breathing. Can
Yeah.
you say what helps you in that regard with when it comes to breath and competition?
Yeah. So I'm gonna quick shout out Kevin DeSoto. Kevin DeSoto has taught me a lot about what I know about competing, and he's been a huge mentor to me when it comes to competing. But yeah, he told me about the breathing thing, and basically like the second open starts, you have to start paying attention to your breathing, and it's in through the nose, out through the mouth. Like even when you're not on stage, like still pay attention to your breathing. Um, you basically just you get yourself in this like it's almost like a trance, if that makes sense. I mean, you guys, I'm sure you guys know like that locked in feeling when you're up there.
Yeah.
But it's like the second you let your nerves and get anxious, like your breathing, your heart rate goes up, like you get the shakes. And I've learned if you control your breathing, the second you walk in those doors, basically, and you know, like I'm going to be going on stage within the next hour. Like don't do anything that's going to throw me off. Don't do anything that is going to like don't be like running around doing a bunch of stuff. You know what I mean? Like you got to get locked in mentally way before you get on stage. Because if you try to get locked in the second you get on stage, you're have not had much success doing that. So it's really just controlling your breathing in through your nose, out through your mouth, steady and consistent. Get like off stage, on stage, in between rounds. When you're practicing your tricks, like pay attention to your breathing. I do take a really nice deep breath each time before I try the trick. Like I kind of like get set, take a nice breath, and then attempt the trick. Um, that's really it. And then I've just learned that that's allowed me to kind of get in that like Zen zone, and it's really just you and your Dama up there, you know?
Yeah. Do you have nerves?
Oh yeah. I think definitely a little bit still. Not nearly as bad as I used to. I competed a lot before I started doing good. Probably 3 or 4 years of competing, like getting out first round. Like my first NACO I went to, I literally lost my first 2 matches in 2016. Like was super bummed. Like, but over the years, you kind of figure out your flow with it and kind of figure out what works and what doesn't work for you. And I feel like I hear a lot of people say this, but it just comes with experience. Like the more you're on stage, the better you get at being on stage. Um, and something that I do at events, like even now, like I'll try to be on the stage or around the stage as much as I can, like during the event. Like, uh, I'll just say Dama and the D, for example. Like, there's a lot of downtime during that day, and like during that downtime, I'm like in the corner of the stage, like just playing Kendama or like practicing the tricks or battle at the border. You know, you have all those times to kind of like run up on stage and kind of just sit there and hone a little bit if you want to. Like, the more comfortable you get being on stage, it makes everything so much easier.
Yeah. That's I think that's a really important fact that people just have to hear when it comes to getting better at competing. A lot of people ask this question all the time, and a lot of the reality is just more experience. And you're only going to do that if you let yourself get into those positions, get into those opportunities. A lot of people may have the same experience as you when you first competed. You get double first rounded, never feels good. It's actually one of the worst feelings in the entire world, especially on your first time competing
Oh yeah.
in the pro level. Like, not good, right? You
No.
know, some people can't, and some people shut it off too early. They're like, it's not for me. Like, I'm done.
Yeah.
And then now, just hearing your story, it didn't happen overnight. Like 3, 4 years go by, and then you find your stride, and you go from double first round match losses to double podiuming, double first placing down in the D or local event. It just goes to show that the more you show up, the more you get times at bat, the more
Yep.
likely you're gonna hit a home run and just win it all. So
Yeah.
I think it's a good testament to that.
You definitely like if get to as many events as you can, compete as much as you can. It just all comes with time, man. It all comes with time.
Yeah. Yeah. And have you been competitive? I mean, I know you played soccer, but you've been like this ever since you started Kendama too. Have you been a competitive guy?
Yeah, I've always been pretty competitive. So like definitely getting knocked out that first year at MKO, I was like, yeah, I need to get better at this. You know what I mean? Like I
Mm,
know we can do better. We got to get better at this.
that's
Who did you really want to beat back in the day? What are good? Let's take us through some of your most memorable matches, maybe your most memorable rivals.
Um, Probably, I mean, I feel like I want to say Alex and Liam specifically because I feel like I kind of came up in that same time that they were coming up. I remember um, I had played Alex at Domino the Death in 2019, I think it was. Played him in the finals, ended up taking the win over him. That was like huge for me because I mean, Alex Economics is crazy.
Yeah.
But like that was a big one for me. I was like, holy crap, like we just took out Alec Mitchell in the finals. Liam, that was for freestyle. Um, I played Liam at NACO 2019. I was in losers bracket, so I kind of had to like build my way back up. Um, but I had to play him twice. The first match I played him, I actually ended up beating him. And
Wow.
then when I played him again, he beat me the second time. But like that first time that we played and I got the win over him, that was like super, super big, you know?
Yeah. I actually, are you talking about 2018, 20, no, 19, right? Yeah. You just,
Yeah.
oh man. That was the first event where I truly was like, yo, Mags is actually nuts. Like Mags is, I was like USA, baby. That's what I was,
Yeah,
because I remember I was playing, I got to the final day, also an open, and I played Utaro from Japan. And then our match, every time we pulled a trick, once one of us missed, the other person got a point. So it was over in 5 tricks, three to
Yep.
two. And then I was like, are you serious? Like, this is really unfortunate. And then I'm like, okay, you talk about like he beat me. He's probably gonna go all the way to the finals. Dude,
Yeah.
then he faced Zach Mags.
Yeah.
And then I was like, all right, well, good luck, Zach. But oh my, wait, he's
Yeah.
actually, and then you beat him, and I was like,
Yeah.
America. I was actually just like
Yeah.
America
That
so hard.
was crazy. That was another one of those like I just got like in the zone and I just kept well, that was the thing too is I feel like helped me out because I was just on stage like every other like match, like constantly.
Yeah,
Like one of the matches I stayed up there 2 matches in a row. So I just like I got in this like flow and I was just like I kept winning and I was like, this is crazy. Like what's going on? You know? But I remember that match specifically. That was crazy.
for me, that's like your most iconic match. That was like when you got on the radar for me for sure. I mean, I
Yeah,
had known
yeah.
you, but that, I was like, oh, okay,
Yeah,
yeah,
I mean,
That's
Utaro
probably
was
my most proud podium, if I'm being honest with you. NACO third open, that's probably my most proud one.
100%. Yeah,
There's so many competitors. Like I played so many matches, like just to get the third. You know what I mean? Like I know I've got first other places, but that one specifically, it's like it's the biggest event in the US. You know, to be on a podium, like first, second, or third, it's like
yeah,
a huge deal. You know?
yeah.
yeah.
Especially coming from losers, like you definitely played 10 or more matches.
Yeah. I think I lost my first match actually.
Oh,
No.
you definitely played more than 10.
Oh my God.
It was like first or second. It was really really early, and then I ended up like playing so many dudes, like
Yeah,
so
yeah,
many matches.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah, Utaro was like that's a huge dub, and Utaro was hitting 10 tap Juggalinos back then. So I
Oh yeah, oh
mean,
yeah,
yeah, I mean, I thought Utaro was gonna go all the way and dub the whole event, but then you took him out, and I was like, okay, yeah, I thought the same exact thing. And for so you would say that was like over because you got third at Battle of the Border 2023 freestyle. And
mhm.
you've podiumed at Battle of the Border quite a few times. How
Yeah.
does Battle of the Border compare to your NACO experiences?
It's pretty close for sure. They're both like major events. I haven't been too successful in the open side of things with battle, more freestyle. But yeah, I think I got two thirds and a second for freestyle there. Um, but I don't know. It's like sometimes I feel like I've done both of them long enough to where I like can do good in both. It's just
Hmm.
kind of how open's a big like match thing, like who you're playing and like the way the matches are lined up is affects a lot of how far you can go. You know what I mean? Like you could have like your first 2 matches are easily the hardest matches of the day, possibly. You know what I mean? So if you don't make it past those, then you're done. But freestyle, I feel like you have more opportunity to excel because like again styles are super different, you're not being told what to do. Like if you pin a lot more tricks, like put on a better show, like you know what I mean, there's a lot more like variables with freestyle, I feel like. um but like to compare it to NACO, NACO is definitely a lot more intense for sure, than battle is just, I mean battle is just as intense, but like NACO, I mean it's the biggest one, man. Like it's definitely a little bit of a mind game up there.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And would you say you're personally better at open or freestyle? Which one have you had more success with?
Um, I don't know which one I've done more in, like more podiums in. I definitely enjoy freestyle more.
Yeah, yeah.
A little bit less being told what to do. You know, you just kind of more free roam. You get to kind of show off your creativity with it instead of like pulling trick cards. Um,
Hmm.
I don't know. I don't know though. I mean, honestly, I like them both. Nowadays, definitely freestyle more, but I'm still a big fan of open. I like freestyle just as much. I'm very grateful that I'm figured out a way to do both in a way. But
Yeah,
I definitely like freestyle more for sure.
right. Yeah, I've had the same experience. I think just like you said, doing both for so long, you kind of start getting to a flow of your own thing. I mean, when we're doing this for like a decade, you
Yeah,
start to realize, okay, you kind of your flow for each one. And I definitely have the same response as you. Like, yeah, you have the potential to do
yeah,
both. And I think that's also just kind of a thing that people can realize too. You don't have to be an open player or a freestyle player. You can genuinely become good at both. It just takes time and experience and letting yourself be exposed to opportunities to get better. And so yeah, I think that really is a testament to, again, just staying in the game, having faith, and yeah, just keep believing in yourself. It really just takes you a long way. I mean, we've all of us three, since we've been around for so long, we've literally dealt with a lot more failures than probably most players.
oh
Whether
yeah,
it be, not moving on to the net, like not getting chosen for the sponsor or getting first rounded. I mean, we've all been there. So
yeah,
yeah, it's a true testament. So yeah, it's really cool that we can share these experiences.
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Kendama is definitely is very humbling for sure, especially when it comes to like competition and stuff, because like it can happen like that, and you're done. You know, like it put a bunch of time into it, but it doesn't matter. Like it can literally happen in the snap of fingers. You know, so
Yeah.
you can't like you just gotta shake it off the best you can and get back in it for the next one. You know.
Yeah. It's the only
Yeah.
way.
And you said last time I saw you, you were at ATLO, but you didn't compete because you're going through an injury. And I know I checked into you a little recently, and you said you're still
Yeah.
going through. Is that how's that progressing?
We're doing good. It's been like a 2 month journey. I bruised my chest wall beginning of September. Just a little too hard in the gym, mixed with like disc golf, like upper
Oh,
chest area. Um, I was not put on the correct medication when I originally got checked out. Didn't really get much better after the first month. Went back in, got put on the right stuff, and we're doing a lot better now. Definitely taking baby steps back in everything, but like the past couple of weeks have we're getting back to being on par, like probably 90-ish% I'd say. But I'm hoping by the time NACO rolls around, I'm gonna be back at that 100 for sure. But
Yeah.
it's been rough, boys. I'm not gonna lie. I've never really been down for the count this long, and like it's the one thing I like doing every day is playing kendama. Like I may not be filming every day, but I mean I'm sure you guys do the same thing. If it's sitting on a
yeah.
table, I'm gonna sesh for 10, 15 minutes here or there. But like early on, like playing, like just with the constant movement of the arm and pulling on that chest area, like the next day it would just be all tight and sore, and I'm like, dude, I can't sesh right now. Like this sucks, you know. I mean, I saw Zach at ATLO, and I wasn't even playing kendama there. Like it was super not fun, you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah. And you said you can't play Konami right now, or if you can, it's very little.
The pat since I got put on the new meds, basically my chest was just constantly inflamed, and I wasn't on anything that it can't heal if it's inflamed. So that they put me on meds that keeps the inflammation down so it can heal. So probably the past 3 weeks I've been 3 month-ish slowly getting back into playing. Um, but yeah, that first month, man, like basically just wasn't playing kendama because every time I did, I'd feel repercussions from it.
Yeah. Yeah, that's really tough to deal with, especially if you can't do the same thing you really have to do every single day. I remember I was on crutches for 7 weeks, and but I was still blessed. I mean, I still could play.
Yeah.
So I don't even know what that experience is like fully that you're going through. So I know other people have um are either are dealing with that right now or have dealt with it in the past. So to all the people listening out there, happens to pros too. You know, anything can
Yeah.
happen, and it's really good to know that you're projecting to be at a good state of recovery by NACO. I mean, are you looking to compete in that or?
Oh yeah, we're competing. I've been practicing my tricks. We're getting in there for sure.
Okay, yep.
Um,
There.
I'm I like I said, the past month's been really good to me on the recovery side of things. So I'm hoping if I'm doing everything I can to take care of myself to make sure that I'll be good to go by then. I had a few trips I was supposed to go on before NACO, but I actually ended up canceling those just to have more downtime and just time to like fully recover before the trip because NACO is super important to me, guys. I mean, it's huge. It's one of the biggest events.
Yeah.
Definitely like I feel like I'm still a very strong competitor for KUSA, so I want to show up and I want to do my best to potentially bring home some kind of podium, you know?
Yeah. Absolutely. Why not?
Yeah,
Right?
right.
Oh, let's go. I mean, you literally did it against. I mean, you've claimed third at one of the hardest years ever for NACO. So, yeah, anything's possible, dude. Seriously.
Yeah.
Let's go.
That's the thing too. For real, anything is possible when it comes to like open and freestyle. And like there's the all the times I've done good, I thought I was gonna do terrible. And you know what I mean? It just anything can happen.
Yeah. Anybody can beat anybody.
Yeah.
Anybody can beat anybody. I've seen the craziest upsets.
Oh yeah. It happens. It
Yeah.
happens, dude.
What do you think about that? Like in the first two, like as a competitor, are you more so do you think you're more prone to getting out in the first couple rounds than you are in the later rounds or vice versa?
First rounds, first
Yeah.
round's the one you got to get me at because it's like I feel like no matter how honed in I get myself with the breathing and the headphones and everything, that like first jitter match is definitely when I have the most jitters for sure. So if I usually hope to like kind of have a chiller first couple matches before the ball really gets rolling, but like the NACO year, for example, like I just played so many matches, like I felt like I was like, okay, like I'm landing everything, like you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and I agree with you. The first match, I mean, I think I think about it like this. I'm like, I usually would go into comps thinking, okay, I really, really want. I mean, level two tricks, like we say, it's split up levels one, two, and three. Like level three tricks, I'm hyped to get there because I know that the skill, you know, lever or level, it just keeps rising, and I know I'm
Oh
gonna be
yeah,
able to handle like some players in the top eight, like at least maybe even half of them can't even do those tricks that well.
yeah,
So I know that like okay, if I get there, like I know I can definitely beat most of these guys in these tricks. But level one, it doesn't really matter how good you are. I mean, sort to a certain extent because you're all doing the same tricks. It's not like you have a chance of pulling a top eight trick in level one. Somebody could be objectively just much less skilled than you in Kendama, much way less like less hours in, less like hundreds of hours less in Kendama than you,
yeah.
and they could still come out on top because they're still at that threshold of skill of like, all right, I can do this trick and you can miss and all this stuff. And I've experienced that multiple times where
Same.
I've been the one winning and when I'm way worse than the person in front of me, or you know where I'm expecting to win. I'm like, all right, let's do this, and I skip. I'm like, wow, this is a really tough match. Oh my god, I lost. You know,
Yeah,
anything can happen in that first round.
yeah. People, you definitely gotta. It doesn't matter who you're playing if you capitalize on the misses. Like you got to capitalize on the misses, and like and it's not especially those early rounds, man. Like I mean, like some of the like J stick times five, for example. Like you miss one of those, and the other person gets it. Like you don't have to be the best Canal player in the world to hit that trick. You know what I mean? It's just who's getting it when the other person misses it. You know?
Yeah, 100%, 100%. For we have a couple Instagram questions, and
Oh
one was
yeah,
from A Grizzy Dama. He just straight up just asked, "New KUSA players?" Question mark.
yeah. Yeah, we're cooking. We're cooking.
Let's go.
We're cooking. They
Who are they? Who are they?
oh I don't know if I can share that. But yeah, no, we're always looking to build and expand. We kind of had that 2 year plan, but definitely like past that came out better than anticipated.
Yeah.
Still trying to build and grow as much as we possibly can. There's a lot of talent out there still. There's a lot of people that I get my eyes. But yeah, we're scheming. We're scheming. Always Mags is always scheming.
Yep.
Let's go.
That's great to hear. And
Yeah.
you actually did touch on this earlier. You said you were the team scout, team manager. I think this would be really beneficial for people who have the goal of getting sponsored. Of getting sponsored. I've been talking to I've had a couple conversations recently with players in the scene who have a goal of becoming sponsored by a certain company. So So when you're a team scout, like what are you really looking for in that regard when you're trying to scope out the future of your team?
Yeah. Um, One thing that I look for is like the genuineness, like in Kendama, like why are you playing Kendama? Like, are you just trying to get sponsored, or are you trying to get on the team because you love the team, you love what they're about, this and that? I see a lot of people like rep a company for 3 months, 3, 4 months, like not get on, and then all of a sudden they start repping somebody else trying to get on them. I usually definitely like not that I wouldn't pick somebody like that, but would definitely pick someone who's even if it takes a year, like that just doesn't stop repping solely because they love the brand that much and like really just they'll do whatever to get on, they'll wait whatever to get on. I feel like people like that are in it for the long haul, you know. I had like half the team leave back in 2020. So it's like bringing new people on. Like I want to make sure that you're down to stick around and you're not just trying to pick up a sponsorship. Like you're coming on because you genuinely like what we're doing, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
So you're looking for the length, kind of like the length of repping. That's a big factor.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely like, yeah, length for sure. I don't know. I just feel like it's really obvious to see the difference between people who are like just trying to get a sponsor and people who
Mm.
are like trying to get on a company because they genuinely like can want to be a part of this team. You know what I mean?
Yeah. What is the difference that you notice?
Um, it probably goes back to the length thing.
Okay. Yeah.
Like how long they're, how much
Yep.
time they put in, like only playing a specific company's product, like repping them as much as they can. But like once they hit that like 3, 4 month mark, they don't just stop and switch to somebody else. Like they're gonna keep going. You know what I mean?
Right.
And during that time too, like you see players get better and better and better as they kind of
Yep.
progress. So it's like and me like personally like when I see that stuff like we may not put you on the team right away but we're definitely like flowing you some damas like letting you know like hey I see you out here like I appreciate you repping us like stoked that you're stoked on us like you're getting better all that kind of stuff like so like it takes it and I'm sure you guys know this like getting on a team doesn't happen snap of fingers like
Right.
it's a whole process but definitely like try and let the people know that who are repping and have been repping like hey like we see you like flow you some stuff like you need anything type stuff you know.
Yeah. I like that. Like showing, just making just acknowledging them, right? Like making sure their
Yeah,
presence is
yeah,
known. And that's all it takes for, hey, I mean, if I'm a young player and I'm repping a company that I'm really inspired by and they send me free Damas, that's literally a one-way ticket for me personally to just
yeah,
go forever, you know? Like,
right.
yeah, that seems really encouraging.
And I feel like people understand too it's like just because you're repping doesn't mean like we're gonna put you on like in the next 2 weeks. Like everything takes time, you know. Like, but I feel like it kind of just goes back to that communication thing. Like, if I'm sitting here repping a company for, if I'm in their shoes and I'm repping you for 7 months and I don't get like any kind of a DM or like any of a hey man like you're doing really good or flowing you a couple damas, you know, like it might get a little old. So I try to like let people know who are doing stuff with KUSA stuff like hey like I see you the team like we see you and we appreciate it you know.
Yeah. Yep. 100%. Yeah. Usually the longevity, if you see someone have that, then it's going to go a lot long. It's going to go a lot deeper than just like posting clips. You're going to start talking, communicating, meeting each other at events. Usually that
Yeah,
connection deepens. Yeah, absolutely.
yeah.
I've got a couple simple ones real quick. Favorite Kanama edit you've shot. So we talked about Kenyatta's, but for your overall,
Bands for sure.
that's nice.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Favorite Kanama edit that isn't Kusa.
Ooh. um
That's so hard for me because they have the best ones.
Non KUSA probably the honestly probably the Sweets Japan
Okay.
not sure what year it was but it was the year the Coop did everything like the plane shot you guys were there.
2016. Yeah.
Was it 2016?
Old one. Like we were doing plane tricks in the bathroom, just a
Yeah,
tad.
yeah. That's
2016. That was legendary. Yeah.
really quick. Like that pops into my head a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That one's nice. That one's nice. And then last one from yeah, Justin, favorite artist or song right now to listen to when playing Kinama.
Ooh. I've been listening to his artist named Mike. That's Mike with like a little dot after it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I listen to a lot of him like past like year. He just makes a lot of different types of music.
Yeah.
Some like more rap stuff, some more like singer-songwriter style.
Yeah.
So I listen to him quite a bit these days for sure.
Nice. Yeah, I've listened to Mike before too. It's actually, yeah, it's really good session music. And
Yeah.
then just one from Noah Dama. How does Mags like South Carolina?
Oh, Mags loves South Carolina.
There it is.
Yeah, yeah.
Easy. Good. Nice.
All right. What I have one from Cooper Irinago. What gave you inspiration from your last project model design? Like your pro model, I think is what he's
Uh,
referring to.
the the last one that would have been the 10 year.
Hmm.
Um, Honestly, like I wanted it to kind of look like a half split, but not a half split. And I really like the gold concept for like 10 years. Like I feel like gold's just a color that represents a lot just being gold. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So basically like literally took a half split, made the bottom 70% natty, and then the X's is just represents 10. So I actually got one right here. So it's literally like a half split just with the natty bottom with the X's instead of it being all white. So super simple. The three stripes is because it's my third one. So
That's so sick.
3 for 3. And I wanted to keep that one a little bit more simple because my V1 and V2 were like super, there's a lot going on. So I just wanted
Yeah.
something clean and crisp for the 10 year, like almost like looks like a trophy in a way, you know?
Yeah. 100%. That is a clean dom. It's been a little bit since I've seen that up close.
Yeah, thank you, man. I appreciate it.
That is sweet.
Sometimes simple is better, you know. I had to kind of tell myself with that one, like you don't got to keep doing. I like the crazy stuff, but I feel like
Yeah.
10 year just needed to be clean cut, like trophy
Yeah.
kind of style.
Yep. 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 The gold is just like you said, just so iconic in it, just by itself. So
Yeah,
yeah.
Yeah, it's
So,
it's super clean and definitely like a different style than your last two with the camera. The orange one will be always be the most iconic to me.
yeah.
yeah,
For
it
Blue one's
you,
is.
for
always going to
sure.
be the most iconic.
Yeah,
But
I've sold a lot of the orange ones are out and about in the world. It's crazy how many of those we went through.
yeah.
Yeah, it's I love that Dama. I love the look of that Dama.
Like,
What? One last one from this is a quick one. Setup
Yeah.
weight preference.
oh, it's honestly changed over the years. I feel like everything just keeps getting a little bit heavier and heavier.
Yeah.
Right now, I definitely like 80 to 85 is probably like 85 is probably my heaviest that I'll play. But if you go like 2, 3 years back, it was like 75, 80. Just the shapes keep getting a little bit bigger. So like obviously you increase the size on stuff, it's more dense, it's going to be heavier. So like 80 to 85 range, anywhere between there, I kind of my personal preference.
Yeah, yeah, I'm kind of in the same boat. I have the same preference on that. And you're right;
Yeah.
they just keep getting bigger and bigger and just heavier and heavier. So
Right. And I'm not the bit like you can get lighter ones, but like you gotta like bamboo and like I like bamboo, but not for like everyday type stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
that maple Kens, like you're getting 80 to 85 usually.
yeah,
Consistent. Yeah.
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 What for the rest of 2024 and into 2025? What can we expect from Zach Mags? What's something that really exciting that you're looking forward to into 2025 with KUSA, personal, anything?
Um, we're really trying to get back out to Japan, like big KUSA Japan trip. I don't have too many. I can't share too many details about it, but it's not going to be for Cup. It's going to be like the OG KUSA tour, like 5, 6 of us down there making. And I have not been in Japan to film yet, and I'm itching to get down there to film. So there's gonna be 5, 6 of us in Japan for probably a good 2 to 3 weeks, mobbing around, hosting jams. Like we're trying to figure out all the pieces of the puzzle to do that right now. But definitely that. And then I got some personal stuff coming out in 2025 that I'm working on too. So definitely some Mags projects and some just like big KUSA Japan. Like we're really working hard to make that one happen.
No.
Yeah.
Let's go. We were
Let's
just actually
go.
watching a bunch of old KUSA edits at our event this past weekend, and it just brought me back. Like, yeah, KUSA just has the most timeless edits. I mean, they hold a special place in probably all three of our hearts because of the time we grew up in. But
Oh
the
yeah.
fact that you're about I mean, everything goes to plan. You go out there and just crush it for 2 to 3 weeks, and not even for World Cup, just the old OG tours.
Yeah. Like
Uh,
we want to be like trying to we're planning to figure everything out. The goal is 2025, but like talking with Jeremy, I was like, I want to be out there best weather. Like, I don't want any obligations besides filming our team and meeting new people out there. And like, I don't want to be on a schedule for somebody else. Like, I want to be on our own time frame. You know what I mean? Because Cup, man, it's like you got to
Yeah,
practice, get your practice time in. You got places to be. It definitely is like that's a lot to do all the other stuff on top of it.
yeah, yeah. Oh, I'm hyped.
Now,
I
dude,
really
I'm
want
hyped. I'm so hyped to go out there and film. Like you really don't understand. Like I want like I feel like everyone in my shoes has kind of like made their Japan video, and like
Yep.
I'm just so ready to like make my version of it.
Oh, it's actually
It's
over.
it's gonna
Yeah,
hit. It's gonna
yeah.
hit like nothing else has ever hit before.
Yeah, I'm beyond excited, and I honestly think it's worked out. Like I'm a big guy on like everything happens for a reason, and I think like it's given me time to really dial in and perfect my work. So now when I go out there, it's like I know exactly how to execute it and put it together. You know what I mean?
Oh my, I
Yeah.
actually haven't been this hyped for like in so
Can I
Yeah.
make one request, please?
Yeah, absolutely.
Best edit I've ever watched from KUSA. It's in my top two. Was
Mhm.
never even a main edit. It was the Kendama USA 2012 Japan bonus
The
footage.
bonus
Please tell
footage.
me
Oh
you'll
yeah.
have some bonus footage version.
Oh yeah, we're gonna have like five camera setups out there rolling nonstop. So we're gonna have a big bonus video. Like main, definitely probably like 20 to 30 minute edit, and then we'll have like that 2 3 hour long bonus footage for sure. 100%.
No, if you make this, it's actually going to be this edit means a lot.
Dude, I can't tell how excited I am to get out to Japan to film. Like the last time I was out there, I was like I mean, it was my first time in 2019, so I was like in La La Land the entire time. So like, and Skaggs was still doing the media side of stuff, so I didn't really pick my camera up too much. But like, I'm trying to go out there and I want to cement another video in that KUSA like Japan timeline of
Yeah,
things.
yeah, yeah.
I'm
Yeah,
really looking
Okay,
forward to that.
there it is.
yeah,
Get
me
stoked
too.
for 2025. Let's
Yeah,
go.
That's
yeah,
big
for sure.
news.
And actually I got some of my own stuff coming out. I don't want to say too much, but I definitely am planning on playing a lot more kendama this year, especially after the injury. It just kind of like re-sparked like how much I actually care about kendama and not being able to play. Like it really like I'm stoked to play a lot more this year, and I want to get better too.
Hmm.
Kids are crazy these days, so it's like you gotta put the time in still if you want to be one of the top, man.
For sure.
That's right.
Absolutely. Yo.
That's right. Well, I mean, Nick and I cannot wait for that. We've been watching Kuz. I've been watching a lot of Kuz edits recently, just to relive old times. So to know that you're about to make something timeless for today's players is so exciting. It's just I can't look forward to it enough. It's amazing. So we're looking forward to that. And yeah, I mean, and you said you're not going to be there for World Cup, but it sounds like it's going to be an absolutely epic trip.
Dude, yeah, I'm getting I really got goosebumps right now just thinking about it. Like for real.
Yo.
Yeah. Well, we're looking forward to that, and I don't have any other questions on my end. I'm really hyped for everything you have going on in 2025. Just even the personal projects that you can't say much about right now. I mean, everything that you've produced has always been of amazing quality. And just knowing you as a person, I know you're just going to put your all into it and execute at a very, very high level. So
Thank
I
you.
just am really looking forward to it, and just know that Nick and I are always supporting you, dude.
Thank you
So
guys. I appreciate it so much. I love doing this stuff. I'm super passionate about it. And I think that's kind of why it all just works out so well. It's like I love Kendama, I love camera stuff, like the passions colliding, just it's awesome.
yeah, no doubt. Absolutely, man. So it's been an epic conversation. Thank
Yes,
you so much,
absolutely.
Mags.
Yeah, thank you guys for having me on. I really appreciate the time and I'll see you guys at NACO.
Yeah, there you
Absolutely.
go.
Let's
Yeah.
go. All right, guys. Hope you guys enjoyed the episode. See you guys next time.
Peace,
Peace.
guys.
Peace.